Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kendra and ich bin deine Lieblingsausländerin, coming back to you with another video. So today I want to do something a little bit different. I have a special guest, Jay from Stephan, who is a fellow expat, and we wanted to have a little conversation about what it's like merging cultures. So what it's like to bring our American culture over with us to Germany, but also take parts of German culture and integrate them into our existing culture. And hopefully he can provide some insight on what it's like to be able to merge two different cultures. So before we get started, make sure you click the subscribe button and make sure you click the like button. It helps me out very much and I appreciate all of your support. So Jay, you're now an American expat that's living in Germany with your German husband. But this is not your first experience with merging cultures. You also come from an Indian background. So talk about what it was like for you growing up, trying to merge your Indian culture with your American culture. What was the biggest struggle that you had there?
Kendra, thank you so much for having me on your channel. And I'm excited to discuss this topic with you because I think you and I both can somewhat relate to this topic. I actually went through a cultural identity crisis. See, my parents moved from India to USA when I was 9 years old. So I was fairly young, which made it very easy for me to assimilate into the American culture. I immediately felt at home, whereas my parents and my older siblings, they remained very Indian for the longest time because they held on to the Indian culture. It wasn't as easy of a transition as it was for me. So growing up at home, I was always very Indian, but as soon as I left the house and hung out with my friends or went to school, I was very American and I started thinking like an American. I felt American. Everything about me was American, except when I was at home, I was very Indian. So juggling the two cultures was a challenge for sure.
So what was the pivotal moment for you when you realized how you could integrate both cultures, or that you even had an interest in integrating both cultures?
The pivotal moment for me was when I became older and I went to university, a graduate university, and got my first job. And my first job was outside of California. And because I was no longer at home or in that comfort zone of my parents' home, I started missing the Indian culture. And that's when I realized that both cultures were a huge part of me. That's when I also realized that actually it was okay to be fluid between multicultures, and we create our own culture in a way. It doesn't really matter which culture someone belongs to or is born into. I think we all end up making our own version of that culture as far as how we connect as a person to that culture.
So now you live in Germany, you've been with your husband for a very long time now. Over the years, what are some ways that you guys have figured out how to celebrate each other's identities and preserve each other's cultures? How do the holidays look for you guys?
I really love that question because I actually discussed this very topic in one of my previous videos recently. That when I first came to Germany, I was very resistant to the German culture and the German way of living. I was one of those cliche Americans, I hate to say, that I was very demanding and I was very obnoxious. I was not open-minded at all. I have obviously changed over the years, but the change I have to credit to Stephan's family and friends. His family accepted me with open arms, and so did his friends. And being exposed to a culture through people that you know and that you trust, it has a different aspect to it. So the frustration becomes a little bit less, and it changed me as a person to become more open-minded. And now I absolutely love the German culture. I absolutely love having both sets of the holidays. If you really think about it, the best parts of the culture actually are celebrated through traditions and holidays. For example, in Germany, there are so many little festivals that go on throughout the whole year. And that is constant celebration of life, of culture. And now that I'm part of three cultures, it's triple the fun. This past Thanksgiving, for example, we celebrated Thanksgiving for the first time in Germany It was just the two of us because of the lockdown, but we had a big feast and we celebrated pretty much the whole day. It was like that perfect Thanksgiving feeling that I normally would have in USA. We made that happen in Germany. And then for Christmas, we integrate both of the traditions, the American traditions and the German traditions as well. And it's absolutely beautiful.
So there exists something called the expat bubble, where people come from their respective countries, and no matter if you're from the US or Brazil or Russia, people tend to get grouped into this expat bubble where they don't have very many German friends, but rather all of their friends are expats. How do you think people can break out of that expat bubble?
My situation is a bit different when it comes to that. So when I came to Germany, I came here with Stephan, and immediately I met his family and his friends. So I immediately became part of his world, and they all accepted me with open arms. So I never really got to experience the expat bubble. And I didn't really miss it either because of the people that I met were so welcoming. But every now and then I had the craving of having American friends in Germany, but that never really happened. And believe it or not, you are the first American that I've gotten to know in Germany. So I guess what I'm trying to say is to get out of the expat bubble is to also expose yourself and give yourself the opportunity to meet other Germans. Also recognize that you are in a different country, and the reason you're there is to experience the new culture and the new country and the people.
So has your life in Germany or your experiences in Germany affected or changed the way that you perceive Americans now, based on the interactions that you've had with Germans, or just your own general observations now that you have a different perspective of Americans?
I definitely see them differently now. I was actually one of those cliche Americans that came to Germany. I was not open to the German culture or any other culture, and I was very close-minded. And there is a slogan in USA which now actually bothers me a lot when I hear it, and it's still used to this day, which is the greatest nation under one God. I think all nations, all countries, all cultures bring something special to the table. A lot of Americans grow up with that mentality that USA is the greatest, we are the best country, we are number one, and therefore it's an automatic way of perceiving other cultures that they are not number one, that they are less.
So each culture is beautiful in its own special way. Can you tell us a little bit about what makes each of the three cultures that shape your life, Indian, American, and German? What is something that is exclusive to each of those cultures that you really appreciate and want to share with us?
For the Indian culture, it has to be music. I am a big fan of Bollywood music. Also, the vibrancy of the culture is amazing. It's so colorful and vibrant and full of life. But my favorite takeaway from the Indian culture is being laid back, because I'm very laid back, and that for sure is based on my upbringing into the Indian culture. And this is always a touchy point between me and Stephan because he's very German. He likes to plan everything, and Germans are very timely, and I am very laid back when it comes to time. From the American culture, I would have to say it's the optimism, because Americans are known to be dreamers, and I am a dreamer for sure. For the German culture, it's the opposite in a way, because I find that Germans are very realistic. They are in touch with reality, and that makes them very grounded. And in a way that brings a lot of peace to my life. There is no fakeness, and the friends that you make here are friends for life. Thank you so much for having me, Kendra. This was a lot of fun. I can't wait to have you on my channel as well, because I think some of these questions also apply to you, so I would love to hear what you have to say as well.
Thank you so much, Jay, for being my special guest today. Everybody go check out Jay's channel, Stephan. The link is down below in the description. He makes some great content about life in Germany as well as other lifestyle content. And he's just an all-around very positive individual. So yeah, head on over to Stephan and check out their channel. And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Auf Wiedersehen.